بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره صدق الله العظيم. The Surah Zilzal. According to some scholars, it was revealed before Hijrah, and many other scholars believe that it was revealed after the migration to Medina Munawwara. This is why in many of the Qur'ans it will say Madaniyah, which means after the migration. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says about this surah, Man qara'a idha zulzilat udilat lahu binasf al-Qur'an. The virtue of this surah is so great that whoever will recite Surah Zilzal, which is this surah, once will get the reward of reciting half of the Qur'an. Many of us know the virtue of Surah Al-Ikhlas, that you recite it 3 times and you get the reward of reciting the whole Qur'an, which means each time equals to reciting 1/3 of the Qur'an. But Surah Al-Zilzal, the virtue of it is reciting it once will get you the reward of reciting half of the Qur'an. Here let me clarify a question that might come in our mind, that what's the difference between a person who recites Qul Huwallahu Ahad 3 times and another person is sitting and reciting the whole Qur'an? Or a person who will recite Iza Zulzila 2 times, each time getting the reward of half of the Qur'an, and there is another person who's sitting and reciting the whole Qur'an and it takes him a long time to do that. So what's the difference between the two people? Why not then just recite these surahs a couple of times and get the reward, and we don't even have to go through the whole Qur'an? So what does this shortcut mean, and really what is it that we get by reciting it? Remember that there are 2 different things. One is the rahmah, blessings that we get by reciting the Qur'an. Each and every word of the ayahs of Al-Quran Al-Kareem, each and every word that's in Quran Al-Kareem has a special blessings in it, has a special nur, light in it. Remember, these are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as Allah is nur, each and every letter uttered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is nur. So each and every letter of Quran Al-Kareem carries a nur in it. And then by reciting each and every word, we get 10 rewards. By the time we finish the whole Quran, we get as many letters multiplied by 10. But this is the reward, and the first thing we talked about was the blessings and the nur and the effect of it. By reciting Surah Idha Zulzila 2 times or Surah Al-Ikhlas 3 times, we might get the reward of reciting these letters, but we won't be getting the blessings and the nur and the effect of the other ayahs of Al-Quran Al-Kareem. So just to get some reward, we will do this, but to get the blessings of each and every ayah, like Ayat Al-Kursi, there are such great ayahs in Quran Al-Kareem, the last ayahs of Surah Al-Baqarah, last ayahs of Surah Al-Hashr, and Ayat Al-Kursi, and many other ayahs. Not only this, there are many ayahs that have a dua. By reciting Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad 3 times, we won't be getting the blessings of that dua. There are many ayahs that are protections against many evils. We won't be getting those protections. Yes, we will get the reward, but we won't be getting all the other things that we are getting with it. And of course, one more thing, that once the person will recite the whole Qur'an, one is getting 10 rewards for each letter. The other is the reward for the time that we are spending in reciting the ayahs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the person who's reciting these surahs will get the reward of reciting the ayahs, which means 10 rewards for each letter, but he's not getting the reward for the time. The other person is spending 8 hours, 10 hours, 2 days. So he's getting the reward throughout that time, and this person is getting reward only for 5 minutes. So, just to get extra rewards and make up a lot of rewards for ourselves, we need to recite these surahs as many times as they are mentioned in the ahadith, and to get the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for each and every ayah, for each and every letter, to get the nur in our heart, to get the protection from the ayahs, and to get the du'as of Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam that are mentioned in Quran al-Kareem. That will be only by reciting the whole Quran. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, by reciting Surah Idha Zulzila, you will get the reward of reciting half of the Quran. Basic message of the surah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us of the real world. This is normal situation with human beings, with us, that whenever we are at certain place, we forget the other places. And we become so emotional, our emotions sometimes take over our other parts of life, that normally we forget everything else. When the person is with his children in the home, forgets about all the other people outside of the home. When the person is in the park and we are enjoying things over there, we forget about masajid and all the other places. And when the person goes to the masjid, then normally we forget about other places. When the person is with the cemetery, with the janazah and in the cemetery, then at that time we just remember that, we remember those things, we see what's in front of us, and we remember those situations. So this is a normal situation with human being, that we forget other than what we are in at that time. So because normally because we are living in this world, so we forget all the other world. We forget everything else that we are going to be facing later on. Just like when children are playing, and during the game, they forget that how tired they are going to get and how much they have to work tomorrow, and everything else, they will forget about all of that. Keep on playing and playing and playing. They were supposed to play till 5 o'clock, now it's 6 o'clock, it's getting 8, 9, and still they want to continue playing, knowing that tomorrow they will have to go to school, and they're getting tired, they may not be able to wake up, but right now they're enjoying so much that they don't want to quit playing. Same thing with us. And this is our nature. That when we start working in this world, we see, working an hour, I got 10, I got $15, I got this many dollars, so let me do a little more. A few more minutes will get me another $1. Few more minutes will get me another $1. And in this way we keep on forgetting about akhirah, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and about the real life that is for us, because this life is very short and it has to end. And human being is not created to end. All human beings are created forever. They are not created to end. In this life, we see that our life ending really is not ending, it's transferring from this world to another world. We go from this life to the real life, and that is akhirah. In this life, normally people live 60 years, 70 years. A person who will live for too long, he might get to 80, 90 years. And at that time, he might be hoping and waiting for his death, and all the other people are also waiting to hear that news at any time. This is why sometimes you hear people saying, my parents are very old and they're sick, I'm going to visit them, who knows what will happen. Sometimes we say, who knows what will happen. This is in our mind, they're so old, so any time they will depart. So this is the extent of this life. As soon as the person dies, the closet is full of clothes, house is full of all the materials and every comfort things of furniture, fridge is full of food, the account is full of money. He can buy anything in the world, but as soon as the eyes were closed and the person went back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's it. This house is not his no more. All the food that was in the fridge doesn't belong to him anymore. The closet that's full of clothing, he will not going to be dressing any of those anymore. All the money that are in the account, he is not going to use a single penny of it no more. That all belongs to other people now. This is the effect of our life. Which means we keep on collecting and collecting and collecting. And at the end, we leave everything for other people and just go. We will be judged for it and other people will use it. Look at this. That we are going to be asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you had $1 million in your account. Your total asset was $2 million. Tell me about each and every penny. Where did you get it from? I am being questioned and other people are using it. This is the reality of this life. And subhanallah, it's all of us together in the same boat. That as we get older, we want to collect more. A person who is in his 70s and he has $200,000 sitting in his account, has in his own home, he will not think that I have enough now for the rest of 10, 15 years that I have to live. He will try to get more. And will try not to use what I have in my account. I don't want to use it. For what? That answer, I cannot even give it to myself. I might do the same thing when I'm at that age. We cannot answer ourselves, and we have no answer to ourselves for this question. That in our 60s, in our 70s, when there is a $500,000 sitting over there, and still we want to work and get some more, for what? And we will say, okay, it's for our children. Which is really, we are admitting that I'm going to be responsible for earning, for being questioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will leave it for other people to use. So all of what we are collecting really is not for us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in the hadith, that human being says, Mali, Mali, my wealth, my wealth. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, oh human being, remember, that yours is only that you will eat, or you will dress, and use it in this life. Ma akalta, whatever you eat, and then you will get rid of it. And whatever you will dress, and then you will throw in the garbage. That's yours. And whatever you will leave behind you, that's all, none of it is yours, it belongs to someone else. So this is the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us in this surah of Quran al-Kareem, which is called Surah Zilzaal. Zalzala means earthquake. Zalzala yuzalzilu in Arabic language means to shake up something. To shake anything is zalzala. And this is why as the earth starts shaking, it's called earthquake, which is called zalzala, as zilzal in Arabic language. So this ayah, this surah is named after zilzal, which means earthquake. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us about the main earthquake that will be coming. And all of us will have to go through that earthquake. Normally we hear there was an earthquake at that part of in that country or in that town, and those people were affected. This surah is reminding us that an earthquake is going to come by which all of us are going to be affected. And all of us will have to face that earthquake. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. When the earth will be shaken with its earthquake. إِذَا means when. And this word will be repeated again and again. It's repeated many times in Quran al-Kareem. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. So إِذَا means when. زُلْزِلَت. Zulzilat means shaken. So when the earth will be shaken, زِلْزَالَهَا, with its earthquake. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. أَخْرَجَ يُخْرِجُ means to bring out. خَرَجَ is to go out. أَخْرَجَ to bring out. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْض. Al-ard is earth. As many or some of the scholars believe that the word, this word earth, it's really the original of the English language that we have. We use earth. Earth, many people believe that it's taken, they use the Arabic word earth and they made a slight change in it, and earth is called earth in the English language. It's driven from the same earth. So our akhrajatil earth, and the earth will bring out athqalaha. Thaqal means weight. Anything is heavy, it's thaqeel. Thaqal is weight. Wa akhrajatil ardu athqalaha, and the earth will bring out its burdens, all the weight that it's carrying. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. Qala means say. And al-insan, human being. The human being will say, مَا لَهَا. What is the matter with it? مَا لَكَ. What's the matter with you? مَا لَهَا. What's the matter with it? فَإِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. When the earth will be shaken with its earthquake, وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا, and the earth will bring out all of its burdens. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا, and the human being will say, what's the matter with it? Let's deal with these three ayahs first. What is this zilzala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the earthquake that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about in these ayahs? Remember, before the Day of Judgment, there will be different earthquakes in the world. As when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam talked about major signs before the Day of Judgment, there are 10 major signs before the Day of Judgment. One of those major signs and one of the signs of the Day of Judgment is the earthquake that will shake up everything in the world. There will be different earthquakes before the Day of Judgment. In fact, this reminds me of a hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, there will be major earthquake before the Day of Judgment in Medina Munawwara. Normally there are no earthquakes in Medina Munawwara. And throughout the history, there was never earthquake in Medina Munawwara. 2 years back, when I went to visit for Umrah, I went for Umrah and to visit Mecca and Medina. At that time, there was a very slight earthquake in Medina Munawwara for the first time. And all the people were really afraid because of it, because that was the first time it happens there. And it looks like it was just a beginning of it. The real one that is to come, that will be a major one in Medina Munawwara, once that will happen, many people will leave that city. Many people will leave Medina Munawwara. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the people who are there for any other reason than just being in my town will leave. Those people who are staying there because of me, because they love Medina, those people will stay. The rest of the people will leave. And then Dajjal will come out, because Dajjal is not allowed in Medina Munawwara. So not every person in Medina Munawwara will be protected against Dajjal. Those people who are living in Medina for any other reason, they will leave Medina Munawwara once they will see the earthquakes coming in Medina Munawwara. And as they will leave, then Dajjal will come and they will be attacked by Dajjal. So there will be many earthquakes before the Day of Judgment. But in this ayah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the earthquake, it seems that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not talking about these earthquakes that will be coming before the Day of Judgment, before every person will die. This earthquake, according to many mufassirin, will be after we are resurrected. And once we all will die, then we are resurrected. As we will be resurrected, and all of us will come out of the graves, that will be the time when this earthquake will take place that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about in the surah. So, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, when the earth will be shaken with its earthquake, and that is, as I said, according to many Mufassirin, will be after the resurrection, once we will come out of our graves. What will happen? At that time, because of that earthquake, أَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا, the earth will bring out all of its burden. What is this burden that the earth will bring out? Two things. One is all the treasures that is in it. Gold, silver, all the mines and everything that's buried in the ground, in the earth, will come out. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in the hadith, which is in Sunan al-Tirmidhi, and the hadith is narrated by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, the earth will bring out all the treasures, gold and silver, like columns, like big columns. There will be columns of gold and silver that will come out and will be just sitting on the ground. فَيَأْتِ السَّارِقُ فَيَقُولُ فِي مِثْلِ هَذَا قُطِعَتْ يَدِي. A thief will come whose hand was cut, and he will say, look, because of this my hand was cut, and now it's sitting over there, no one wants to touch it. وَيَأْتِ الْقَاتِلُ فَيَقُولُ فِي هَذَا قَتَلْتُ. A killer will come who have killed some other people and will say, see, just because of this I have killed people. And now it's sitting over there. No one wants it. And وَيَأْتِ الْقَاطِعُ فَيَقُولُ فِي هَذَا قَطَعْتُ رَحِيمِي. Another person will come and he will say, just because of this I broke relationship with so many people, and now it's sitting over there, no one wants it. ثُمَّ يَدَعُونَهُ فَلَا يَأْخُذُونَ مِنْهُ شَيْئًا. All of them will just leave it there and no one will touch it and no one will take anything from it. So this is أَثْقَالَهَا. All the burden will come out. All the treasures will come out. Will be just sitting over there, no one wants to touch it. What are we going to do with the gold and silver on the Day of Judgment? What are we going to do with dollars and pennies on the Day of Judgment? We all know it's not worth it now. At that time, this gold and silver will be just like a dust to us. Will have no value, no importance. In fact, we will hate looking at that gold and silver more than we hate looking at the dust, because we will feel, because of this I have done so many wrong things in this life. Because of this I have disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because of this I wasted so much of my time. And look, now it's not worth it anything. This is garbage. I wish I would have known that this is garbage and is going to be thrown out like this. I would have never worked for it. This is a fact of our life. But at the same time, the greed that we as human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in our nature, is it going to go away just by hearing these ahadith? Tomorrow will be the same place. But of course, now we know, and by hearing these type of ahadith, at least it refreshes our iman. And at least will make us realize, and makes us realize the reality of these things. Now when we work for it, we have less important of it than we would normally have for it. And this is very important. But even though we work for it, but we realize that this is not everything. And we don't live for this, and my life is not for these things. The main goal and the purpose of the life is something else. This is something that I have to do for my living. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. If we try to picture that scene and try to think about the situation, that we will see all the pearls, gold, silver, everything around us. Mountains of gold and silver there. And we are walking by it. And we are passing by all of these things and none of us wants to touch it. No one wants to take anything from it. And no one of us would even like to talk about these things. In fact, each of us is cursing at these things that just because of this, I wasted so much of my time. Instead of doing the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I was working on these things. If we go to the junkyard and see all the cars, the old cars that are over there, and how they crush those cars because they would like to melt the metal and reuse it, recycle that. The broken cars that are over there, imagine, only 15, 20 years back. The owners of those cars thought that this is so great, for this I can fight with my brother, with my sister, with my parents, with my children, just because of this. Only 15 years back, this was the situation of this car. 15 years later, the same person sold it for $50 to the junkyard for them to recycle it and just get some metal out of it. That's it. This is the reality of it. And on that day, we will not even get the $50 that we are getting now. And this will be the situation of everything of our life. This is the metal, but same thing with gold, silver, everything in our life. That will be the situation. And we will be looking at these things just like we look at the toys. Children look at the toys. For children, these small toys are very important. They fight for it, they cry for it. And brothers and sisters, you see them fighting. What was the big fight about? It was because of those toys. He broke my home. And she says, no, he broke my home first. This is what they fight for. And we as parents, adults, we look at it, we laugh at them, we tell them, oh, I'll buy you another one, don't worry about it. And to us has no importance. Take it, throw it in the garbage. We'll get another one. On the day of judgment, this is how we will be looking at these things. And then we will realize the reality of it. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, Al-mu'minu yanzuru bi nurillah. A true believer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him a nur, a light through which he sees things. And once we have that nur, and we are able to see the reality of things, then we look at the castle. We won't be looking at a castle that, oh, look, it's such a great castle. We will be looking at as if we are looking at some mud and dust and what? Look at this mud. Look at this dust. This is the reality of it. We will be able to see the reality of it as it will go back to it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the beginning of Surah Al-Kahf, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Whatever is in the world, on the surface of the earth, we made it just a way of beauty, just to beautify things. Why? Why these things are beautified for us and they look so beautiful? لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. So that we can test them through these shapes and colors. Subhanallah. The test is through some shapes and color that look at the shape. Such a nice shape. I want something similar to this in a car, in a home, in something else. These are shapes made out of wood, made out of dust. They make up some shape, and then we'll get interest, we will get everything, we will disobey Allah, do anything because I like that shape. And because I like this color, so I'm going to do everything just to get something with this color, with this shape. إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا. Whatever is on the surface of this earth is just to beautify things for us. لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ. And the Creator is telling us the reason of making them. Subhanallah. He's not hiding it from us. If He would like to test someone, testing will give them a surprise. We will test them, and then we'll see what happens. Then we'll tell them, oh, I was just testing you. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, وَإِنَّا لَجَاعِلُونَ مَا عَلَيْهَا صَعِيدًا جُرُزًا. And He tells us the reality of it also. He says, one day it will be just an open space, nothing will be up here. these trees, homes, castles, whatever we see, وَإِنَّا لَجَاعِلُونَ مَا عَلَيْهَا صَعِيدًا جُرُزًا. It will be just an open land. There will be nothing on it. You will be standing by yourself without even having your clothes on. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that this whole world will have nothing on it except human beings standing. They don't even have their clothes on, waiting for their judgment to go either towards Jannah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us that Jannah, or to go towards hellfire, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us from it. This is the whole reality. We will be standing same place. Nothing on it, just we will be standing there, waiting for our judgment. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. The earth will bring out its burdens. This was one burden. Remember I said there are two different things, athqal, two burdens that the earth is carrying. One is this gold, silver, all of these treasures. The second are living beings, which means human beings and jinns. These are the second burden on the earth. So the earth will bring out all the human beings and all the jinns that were buried in the ground. And this is why in Arabic language human being and jinns are called ath-thaqalain. Ath-thaqalain means the two burdens, which means the heaviest load on the earth are human beings and jinns. And all the other load that is coming on the earth is because of us, because we are putting it up. So this is why in Arabic language human beings and jinn are called ath-thaqalain. And this word is just like we use the word insan, human beings, same way ath-thaqalain is used for human beings and jinns. So the earth will bring out all the human beings and jinns also. أخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها. And the human being will say, ما لها. What is the matter with this? Why is shaking up so much? Why is throwing up everything out? Why the earth is going to throw everything out? So that we will realize the reality of it. We will come out for the judgment, and all the treasures will come out, so we can realize the reality of it, that look at this, and we are passing by all of those treasures and no one wants to touch it. يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. يَوْمَئِذٍ, that day, تُحَدِّثُ, it will narrate. حَدَّثَ يُحَدِّثُ, to narrate. This is where the word hadith comes from. We say hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which means the narrations, the things that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam uttered. So hadith is any word. So tuhaddithu, the day that it will narrate what? Akhbaraha. Akhbar means news. That day it will narrate its news. The earth will have started narrating all of its news. What is the news? We will come back to it in a minute. بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا. بِأَنَّ, because رَبَّكَ, your Lord, أَوْحَى لَهَا. أَوْحَى means wahi. We use the word wahi many times for revelation, and I'm sure if you remember once before we talked in detail what does wahi means. And really, the word wahi in Arabic language means to give someone an order in any form, to tell someone something in any form, by signaling, by writing, by somehow you let someone know of something. That is wahi. بِأَنَّ رَبَّكَ أَوْحَى لَهَا, because your Lord have ordered it. So the earth will start narrating all of its news, because Allah have ordered it to speak up and to say about whatever has happened on it. What is this akhbaraha? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in hadith, which is again in a Sunnah Tirmidhi, narrated on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam once recited this ayah, يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. Then he asked Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, أَتَدْرُونَ مَا أَخْبَارَهَا. Do you people know what is the news of the earth? So they said, no, Ya Rasulullah, can you tell us what is that? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, فَإِنَّ أَخْبَارَهَا أَن تَقُولُ, the news of it is that it will say that that person, عَمِلَ كَذَا يَوْمَ كَذَا وَكَذَا, that person did such and such thing on such and such day. About each and every person, the earth will speak up that this person did this on that day, that person did this on that day. So all of our deeds will be spoken by the earth on the day of judgment. The earth will be witnessing against us on the day of judgment. And really it's not only against, it's against and for. If we are doing evil deeds, it will witness against us that on me, that day this person did such and such thing. And if we are doing righteous things, the earth will witness for us that on me, that day, this person did such and such thing. This person performed 2 rak'ah salah here. He performed another sajda over there. He recited Quran over here. This will be something that the earth will be witnessing also for. And at the same time, he hurt someone or he oppressed someone on me on that day, or he committed these and such sins on me that day, all of these things will be there also. So whatever we do on the surface of the earth, all of these things will be spoken of by the earth on the day of judgment before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and before all the human beings. So as the earth will witness, يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that will be the day, and remember that day. يَوْمَئِذٍ, that will be the day. يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ. Sadara yasduru means to come back. It's the opposite of another word which is called wurud. Warada yaridu means to go somewhere spatially, where there is some water. Travelers, when they are traveling, they go somewhere where they can find some food, some water, just like when during our journeys we go to rest areas, or we go to some restaurants on our way, we go to the gas stations. That is wurud. Then going out again, leaving that place, leaving the rest area, leaving that gas station is sudur. That's leaving that place that we were there for some time. Same thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using the word sudur for leaving the graves at that time. يَوْمَئِذٍ يَصْدُرُ النَّاسِ. We were put under the grave for some time, under the ground in our graves for some time. Then that day, يَصْدُرُ النَّاسِ, the people will come out. In which form? Ashtatan. Ashtat means scattered. Shatta means different. Ashtat, scattered, all of them in different groups. What are these groups? All of these groups will be of different religions and followers of different ways of life. So each person will be looking for his group. Mu'mineen will be looking for the group of mu'mineen. Christians will be looking for the group of Christians. Jews will be looking for the group of Jews. So each person will be looking for his group of things that he used to do in his life. يَصْدُرُ النَّاسُ أَشْتَاتًا. People will come out, will proceed, will come out ashtata, scattered in groups, لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُمْ, to be shown their deeds. Ra'a means to see. Ra'a, to see. Yuraw, so that they can be shown. أَعْمَالَهُمْ, their deeds. So that day, people will come out, scattered in groups, لِيُرَوْا أَعْمَالَهُمْ, to be shown their deeds. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ. فَمَنْ, man means who. فَمَنْ, so whoever. يَعْمَلْ, amal means deed, do. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ, whoever will perform مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ, Mithqal means as much as. As much as dharratin. Dharra means an atom, the smallest thing we can imagine of in our life. That is dharra. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ, whoever will perform an atom of khayran, good. Khayr means good. Whoever will perform good as much as an atom, yarahu, he will see it. Yara, to see, ra'a, to see, yarahu, he will see it. So whoever will perform, literal meaning will be, whoever will perform good as much as an atom will see it. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ, and again the same wordings, وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ, whoever will perform مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ, as much as an atom, شَرًّا, evil, yarahu, will see it. Shar means evil. So whoever will perform good deed as much as an atom, any good deed equal to an atom, that person will see that also. And a person performing an evil as much as an atom will see that also. Nothing can be hidden from them, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that day. And really these are the ayahs, if we keep them in our mind, these ayahs are enough to keep us away from all the evils that we perform in our life. That on that day, the minor thing I do in my life, the thing that I consider so minor and has no importance, that thing will be also seen that day and will be shown on that day, whether it is good or bad. In one of the hadiths, it says that this ayah was revealed, these two ayahs were revealed about two people. One of these two people, his situation was this, that when a beggar would go to him, and this person has nothing to give except a couple of dates in his home, so he was ashamed to give those couple of dates. He used to say that, how can I give just this one date or 2 days to this beggar? So he would go and apologize to that man and say, no, there is nothing I can give. There was another man who used to perform some minor sins. And he used to say to himself, these are only minor ones. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to hold me accountable for these minor ones. He is going to forgive His Rahim. He is going to forgive at least the minor ones. And I'm not doing any of the major sins. So at that time these ayahs were revealed, saying to that person who is ashamed giving that date, that no, go ahead and give even that single date, because فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى, an atom of good will be seen on the day of judgment, and there are so many things equal to this atom in that date. How many? The date equals to how many atoms? Billions of it. Billions of atoms in one date. Go ahead and give the date. An atom of good will be seen. So this date still is too big. Go ahead and give it. Which means, do not hesitate to give even if it is a penny. That penny will do something that day. That day is not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to say it was only a penny, just leave it on the side. That penny will do something that day. And will do a lot that day. And do not hurt anyone or do not take anything unlawfully, even if it is a penny, because that penny will do something that day too. That penny will be presented also that day. Taking it unlawfully, even if it is a penny, it will come up that day. So, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ. So it was telling that man who was ashamed giving the date, that go ahead, give it even if it is a single date, because even if an autumn will be seen, so this date is too big for it. It will have a lot in it. And it is saying to the other man who was looking down to some of the sins and they feel that these are minor sins, I can commit these and I'm not committing major ones anyway. So it was telling that man, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. If you do an atom of evil, it will be presented on the Day of Judgment, and you will be faced the consequences of it, and you will have to face the sin for it. You will have the sin for it on the Day of Judgment. So no matter how minor it is, still it has many equals to many ultimate in it. So this is why you must refrain from those minor sins also. This is the reason Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to his wife Aisha radiyallahu anha, advising her. And of course, we know how virtuous Aisha radiyallahu anha was. I mean, if we are to think about some people who may not have even thought about any sin in their life, it has to be Aisha radiyallahu anha. The one who was married to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in young age. Then her early life is spent in the house of a Siddiq, and the later life is spent in the house of a Prophet of Allah, of a Nabi. So if a person we are to think who might be a person who will not even think of committing a sin, that's the person there. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam giving her a very special advice. Ya Aisha, Aisha, take this advice from me. Iyaki wa muhaqqarati dhunub. Always refrain from minor sins. فَإِنَّ لَهَا مِنَ اللَّهِ طَالِبًا. Because Allah will question you about them also. And if Allah will question you about any sin, and you will tell Allah, Ya Allah, this is too minor, this is why I committed it, that person has no place to go except the hellfire, wal-a'yāzu billah, because to tell Allah, Ya Allah, I committed the sin because it was too minor, that by itself is a major sin. This is why minor sins sometimes is more important to take care of these minor sins, because major sins normally we all try to stay away from it. But when it comes to some of those that we feel they are minor, there might be many that we feel they are minor and yet they are major. It's only our feeling and our thinking that this is minor. In reality, there might be very major sins. Because as the time is passing and we are getting away from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we are already more than 1400 years away from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So amazing. How many things might have been there that were considered one of the very major ones, major sin, and now we feel that it's very minor. We give no importance to it. One of the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een says to Tabi'een, إِنَّكُمْ لَتَعْمَلُونَ أَعْمَالًا هِيَ أَدَقُّ فِي عُيُونِكُمْ مِنَ الشَّعْرِ. You people are committing certain things that you feel they are less than a hair. Those things, to you, they are less than a hair. That means just as having a small hair on your cloth, no one worries about it. He says you are doing certain things in your life that to you they have no importance, no worry, and they are less than a hair. كُنَّا نَعُدُّهَا عَلَىٰ عَهْدِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ مِنَ الْمُوبِقَاتِ. During the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we used to consider them as one of the major sins. They were considered the major sin only 20 years back. And now you consider them one of the minor ones. And imagine what will be our situation. How many things we might be doing at our home. How many times we hear different things. Give you a very simple minor example. Sometime we are sitting with our family. One of our children, or a wife, or a husband, someone in the family says something about deen, about a masjid, makes a comment about a masjid. That is not a very well taken comment. And we know that I'm not going to be telling this to the imams or to the scholars or to the other Muslims, because they would not like to hear something of this kind. But we take it, we smile, we just let it go as if nothing had happened. Once Umar radiyallahu anhu narrated a hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا تمنعوا إماء الله مساجد الله. Do not prevent your wives from going to the masjid. This is a hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, do not prevent your wives from going to the masjid. Umar radiallahu anhu himself did not want his wife to go to masjid, because he saw the difference between the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and his time. Just that period, imagine, that short period of time. He saw the difference. Aisha radiallahu anha says, if Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam would have been now at this time, after his death, and that was during the time of Ali radiallahu anhu, if Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam would have been now at this time, he would have prevented women from leaving their home at all, and will not even allow them to go to the masjid for salah. Umar radiallahu anhu, now he doesn't like his wife going to the masjid because the situation has changed now. And in different ways, he tries to prevent her, but he cannot tell her, don't go. Because the hadith says, do not stop them from going to masjid. One day he went, he knew that she wants to go for Isha. He asked her, do you want to go for Isha? Yeah, I'm going for Isha. So he made his face, letting her know that I don't want you to go. And she knew. So every time he would do something like this, she will see his reaction. So she was also very intelligent and strong in this way. She wanted to go, so she was telling him, you are my husband, and I will always obey you. I'm not going to disobey you. Just tell me don't go and I won't go. And she knows he won't tell her don't go. She says, if you don't want me to go, go ahead and tell me don't go. And he would stay quiet. There is nothing he can say at that time. And that subject will end there, and she will continue going. One day he went and hid somewhere behind one of the walls. As she was going for a Salatul Isha or Fajr, it was dark. He went and he hit her on her back. Hit her on her back, and he rushed back to the home. So she also went back home. She didn't go to the masjid. She went back home. He told her, he asked her, what happened? You are going to the masjid. She said, oh, the situation now has totally changed. You know, someone who came and hit me on my back while I was going to the masjid. And now people are very bad over there. So I don't want to go there no more. I don't want to leave the home no more. So this is the way he used to keep her in home. Once he was narrating this hadith. This hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, لا تمنعوا إماء الله مساجد الله. Do not prevent from your wife from going to the masajid. So his son, one of his sons said, doesn't mean he did not mean to object to hadith or anything. He said, but I'm going to stop her now. He says about his wife, that now I'm going to stop her because the situation has changed. Since he said it just right after hearing the hadith, he did not mean, but it looked like he's opposing the hadith. Umar radiallahu anhu took an oath that for the rest of my life I don't want to talk to you, don't even come to my home again. Would you oppose the hadith of, I'm reading a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and you're opposing this hadith by saying that you're going to stop your wife now? He apologized. He was crying that, Dad, I did not mean this. Whether you meant it or not, this is how it appeared, and since it appeared like this, I'm not going to take it. Don't come to my home anymore. أَشَدُّهُمْ فِي أَمْرِ اللَّهِ عُمَرٍ. Umar was very strong when it came to deen. Imagine, even Umar radiallahu anhu knew that his son does not mean to oppose the hadith. Yet, it looked like he's doing it. I'm not going to talk to you for the rest of my life. And what are the things we are doing at our home? How many times our children will say, I don't want to pray. I don't like reading Quran, wal-'iyāzu billah. And wal-'iyāzu billah, wal-'iyāzu billah. One of the children In our community, if I don't know, some of you might remember it. Once a child said it. He said, I don't like singing this song about Quran. I don't like singing this song. Really, he thought it wasn't that he meant bad. He was a child. But so attached to songs, whose mistakes is it? His parents. Our children in normal situation, people wake up on music. They sleep at music. Driving music. Throughout the life is full of music. So now when he looks at the Quran, and he must have heard his own father or mother reading, so he said, I don't like this song. So, this is really, as the hadith says, or the Sahabi said to the Tabi'i, that you people are doing things that are less important than a hair to you. And you don't even consider them as bad as having a hair on your cloth. But during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we used to consider it as one of the major sins. This is an example. And there are so many other things in our life in the same way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ. Whoever will do an atom of good will see it, and whoever will do an atom of evil will see it, and will find it there with his deeds on the Day of Judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us tawfiq to perform the good deeds, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us against all the evils, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the judgment on the Day of Judgment easy for all of us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.